Okay, let me present my paper, which have the title, The Impact of Corporate Governance Mechanisms on Firm Performance, a Literature Review. And here is my table of contents, consists of 8 points. First, the introduction. Corporate governance is a very important topic that merits careful consideration because it plays a significant role in enhancing economies and the standard of living in countries around the world. High-quality governing practices lead to improved firm performance, which in turn causes improved economic conditions in countries, indicating that corporate governance, firm performance, and economic development are positively correlated. Among the many facts of corporate governance, the oversight duties of the board of directors and audit committees have drawn the most attention from policymakers, legislators, and researchers. This concentration is based on the idea that independent, informed, and proactive audit committees and boards of directors should be the main guardians of shareholders' interest. In this research, I will investigate how boards and audit committees' characteristics affect the performance of businesses. For my research problem, the impact of corporate governance mechanisms such as board characteristics and audit committee characteristics on firm performance remains an area of substantial interest and debate, while existing empirical research provides insights into various aspects of governance. Inconsistencies in findings highlight a need for a clearer understanding of how specific governance attributes affect firm performance. This literature review seeks to address the following research problem: how do board characteristics, particularly board independence and audit committee characteristics, specifically meeting frequency, influence firm performance in terms of profitability and liquidity? The review aims to clarify whether increased board independence adversely affects profitability and liquidity, and whether frequent audit committee meetings correlate with improved firm performance. By synthesizing diverse research findings, this study endeavors to resolve conflicting evidence and offer actionable insights for enhancing corporate governance practices. And third, my research objective is to investigate the impact of corporate governance mechanisms, specifically board characteristics and audit committee characteristics, on firm performance with respect to profitability and liquidity. This study aims to assess the effect of board independence on firm performance by determining how varying levels of board independence influence firm profitability and liquidity, and explore whether increased board independence correlates with negative or positive impacts on these performance metrics. Second, evaluate the impact of audit committee meeting frequency on firm performance by examining the relationship between frequency of audit committee meetings and firm profitability and liquidity, and identify whether more frequent meetings are associated with improved financial performance and liquidity. And finally, synthesize empirical findings by integrating and analyzing diverse research results to provide a comprehensive understanding of how specific corporate governance mechanisms affect firm performance, and offer actionable insights for academics, practitioners, and policymakers to enhance governance practices and improve firm outcomes. Fourth, the research variables are have independent variables. The board characteristics will be the board independence, and the audit committee characteristics will be the audit committee meeting frequency, and the dependent variable, which is the firm performance, first the profitability and the liquidity. The literature review, first, the corporate governance is described as the set of interactions between management, its board, its owners, and the other parties in the guidelines for corporate governance, which imply that it affects every employee of the business. It guarantees that the business is growing healthily and that investors can have confidence in the financial statements performance data. As part of the responsibility to maintain good corporate governance, shareholders must select qualified boards, auditors, and accountants to monitor the company's operations. Second, the firm performance. The company performance reflects its accomplishments and financial position as detailed in its financial report for a specific time. Periodically, a financial report is published for the benefit of investors, creditors, potential creditors, management, employees, and society at large. For instance, while deciding whether to keep their money in a firm or look for alternatives, investors need information about the company's performance. Such details also demonstrate a company's reliability to potential customers. Profitability practices such as ROE, ROA, or ROI, also gross profit, revenue growth, stock price, current ratio, and operational efficiency were used in previous studies to evaluate the performance of the company. And an author called Doyle stated that profitability was the most employed measure of performance by most commercial companies. Third, the board independence. Most board members ought to be independent to oversee and control management in accordance with agency theory. This perspective holds that managers only care about their own interest and are self-interested, while in contrast, stewardship theory rejects the idea of self-interested managers by arguing that the CEOs are accountable individuals whose interests coincide with those of shareholders, as stated by Clark. Independent directors, however, are less committed to the company and lack the requisite skills, which has a detrimental impact on the success of the organization. And fourth, the audit committee meeting frequency. To fulfill its oversight responsibilities, the audit committee must hold meetings. In contrast, fewer meetings are interrupted at the audit committee not being engaged or spending enough time monitoring, according to Bedard. The quantity of audit committee meeting is a reliable reflection of the committee's dedication, diligence, and amount of monitoring time, according to the corporate governance. The advisory committees of each listed company were required to hold a minimum of 4 meetings annually. Six, the other research findings. First, board independence and firm performance. According to an author which calls White in 1990, the proportion of independent non-executive boards has a positive effect on the share price and business performance of a company due to their management and oversight obligations. Boards managed by non-executives have been proposed to lessen agency conflicts brought on by managers' opportunistic behavior. Other researchers contend that internal directors are dependable managers of a company's resources and enhance performance due to information asymmetry. Board independence and the business performance were found to have a strong negative association. Second, the audit committee meeting frequency and firm performance. Researchers like Clanchell and Coleman found a connection between the frequency of audit committee meetings and the company's performance. Regular audit committee meetings can dramatically lessen agency issues and asymmetric information inside an organization. According to research by an author, state that this because keeping in touch with investors legally will protect their interest. In contrast, according to study by Desert, he failed to discover a connection between the frequency of audit committee session and firm performance. And a final conclusion that a well-run corporation is increasingly valued for having corporate governance. The need for corporate governance has been recognized by the world's economies due to investors' reluctance to invest in companies that don't follow these standards. The audit committees and board of directors are significant components of internal governance that aid management in achieving goals and enhancing the performance of regional listed companies. It has become obvious from analyzing many theories of corporate governance. Several studies show that board independence has a strong and negative impact on companies' profitability, which means that businesses where a single person serves as both the board chair and CEO have a negative impact on profitability. This result was backed by several studies, including Bahagat research, which found that the board's independence had a significant detrimental impact on the performance of companies. In conclusion, with many studies, the frequency of audit committee meetings rises, so do the performance and the profitability of the company. These findings suggest that the number of audit committee meetings is directly related to the degree of success of an organization. Numerous studies in literature, such as those that found a significant link between the frequency of audit committee meetings and the performance of the firms, provided evidence to support this conclusion. The exact same statistically significant positive connection was found by an author. And finally, my recommendation for future research. In the future, there are several different opportunities that can be considered to carry out additional research. Future researchers should be able to compare listed and unlisted companies to determine whether their corporate governance practices are comparable. Secondly, future research and studies could investigate the impact of external mechanisms for good corporate governance, such as managerial, labor market, the market for company control, interest rate policy, foreign exchange, the macroeconomy, inflation, and the other external factors impact firm performance. In addition, it is suggested that future research consider the interdependence or interconnection between external and internal mechanisms, as well as their impact on firm performance. Finally, to fully understand how corporate governance affects a company's performance, future research should take into consideration a variety of legal, social, economic, and political issues. These include the board's commitment, the attending rewards compensation for the board and committee member, the risk committee, the remuneration committee, and corporate social responsibility. Thank you.